Hey guys, Anfield here. Basically, I want to do a quick discussion, I guess, about what you can expect on the 10.0 test server and what we've been given to experiment with, I guess. So the main thing here, you can see this is the Centurion Action X. It's the Tier 10 medium replacement for the current FB4202. Which should be moved for Tier 8 Premium. I'm not sure. If you already own the tank, there have been rumors that you have to do a mission to get the tank. Not entirely sure how it's going to work, but there it is. We don't have that to test with, but we do have the Centurion Action X, which is what is important. We don't have the Chieftain, unfortunately. In the first iteration, that is, that's only given to super testers, but fingers crossed we will get the Chieftain as well soon to play around with, because that's the one I'm really excited about. But as for right now, we only have the Centurion. So this is a standard definition client, so I can't get it full HD, but I can see it's a very good looking tank, much better looking than the previous FV. I really like the look. I'm not uber keen on the light, but other than that, it's really nice, much nicer. I like the gun straps and everything. So yeah, it's really cool. It looks really nice, and the Chieftain looks really nice too. So hopefully we get that and not a stupid Super Conqueror. Fingers crossed. Anyway, so I've played a few battles in it, and if you want to watch gameplay of the actual tank, I have uploaded some stream highlights of me playing the tank. So what's my opinion on the tank after playing it? Well, basically, I think it's very good. I think it's much better than the FP4202, which was severely mediocre tank. I wouldn't go as far as to say it's terrible, like some people might, but it definitely wasn't very strong. This tank pretty much fixes everything that was wrong with that tank. It's far quicker, more agile, which is huge. The FV was so slow. It didn't really feel like a medium at times, and this does feel like a medium. It's pretty speedy. And it's incredibly agile as well, so it's nice. It has a ton of gun depression, which again, you can see that in action on some of the other replays if you check them out, or the videos that I uploaded of the tank, you can check that out. One of the key things that this tank has over the FV, which many people might overlook, among everything else, is the addition of a heat round. Now, the old FV had APCR, but then it had HESH and then HE, normal HE, as its 3 rounds. That meant that it had nothing to defeat, say, E100's turret with, like other mediums do. Is a huge disadvantage. Now, it still has HESH, which is nice, and it also has heat now, which is awesome. Also, the pen is oops, let me get it here. Is 268, which is a lot compared to a lot of the other mediums. Let's, for example, STB1, which is 258, so it gets 10 more than that, and other things like that. So it's like E50M level pen, which is really nice. The gun feels amazing. The handling feels far better than it did. I will compare the stats. I haven't actually looked at them. I did take a screenshot real quick, but I haven't actually looked at the stats myself. But from what I felt like, it felt far better handling. I'll have to double check. This is the current stats. Those of you watching the video, I will show you the stats of the FV, so you'll know actually when you watch. I won't know right now, but it feels better. If it's not better, that's surprising to me, because it feels a lot better than the FV's gun. That being said, I didn't really play the FV that much, so I can't be sure. The turret itself is far stronger than the FV turret. The FV turret was really weak. It did have really good hull armor, and this does not have good hull armor. But the most important armor you can get on the tank is turret armor, because that's where the gun is. And if you can cover the hull and everything, that's fine. But if you have weak turret but strong hull, that's not really as useful, which is what the FV had. So the turret is very good, not impenetrable. It's very weak to heat and does suffer a little bit. If you get it at any kind of angle, there's lots of flat little areas to pen, which can be frustrating. But if this angle, most of the time, it's going to bounce mediocre pen guns. It's not going to bounce TDs that well, though, so don't rely on it too much. But that being said, the tank itself is very good, and is certainly a big improvement. The gun handling, the speed, the turret, and the heat ammo is a huge bonus. It doesn't have more DPM than the current FV, as far as I'm aware. That being said, it does technically is capable of getting more DPM, and that's only because of 10.0, which is what I'm going to talk about next. So the next thing that's big about 10.0 is the change to how the emblems work and things like that. Now, typically, when you'd be playing a tank, you'd have basically, your camouflage and then emblems if you wanted to, but they were used to be decoration. Now, camouflage is always applied extra camo to the tank while playing. So if you can afford it, you should always have gotten camo. But now, emblems and inscriptions also improve the crew. Now, you can argue all day whether that's a good change or not. I don't really mind it, especially because you can buy them for credits anyway, and also they give events away where you can win flags through things like this anyway. Now, here's the catch. Now, I haven't changed the FE so you can see. Immediately when I went on this, and you'll probably see on the stream highlight, but when I went on this and I thought, okay, the one thing you can buy emblems and they all do different things. So for example, you can do ones that increase the commander, the gunner, or the driver, or anything like that. Now, I immediately went, well, I want to increase the DPM, so I went loader. Now, you can do two different things here. You can buy 2%, but 2% only activates when this one says, active for 20 seconds after you've critically hit an enemy vehicle. So increases your DPM by 2% for this. So they have these like bonus activations, 30% or 30 seconds after you've destroyed an enemy vehicle. And there's some that are like when you're under 20% of your hit points, they activate. Now, here's the issue with that. That is not going to be DPM useful all the time. You need all the time useful. These are not useful enough. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to go 1%, which is active all the time. And then after doing some experimentation, I realized on later tanks, I realized that even if I have this 1%, it actually doesn't make a difference. I might as well... It's the same thing as if I did only crew. So let's, for example, if I move it to the crew, so here's 1% to the entire crew. That actually applies to loader as well. So I don't understand. I guess this has been overlooked. I talked to Pigeon of War about it a bit. It's been overlooked as far as I can tell. But basically, there's literally no point doing the 1% for an individual crew member when you might as well, for the same cost, or just a little bit more, I think, at least for the flags, you might as well just do crew member, because it's like 15 extra gold, I think, and you get 1% to every single one. I mean, the answer is obvious to me. So I did test the DPM. So for 62A, I knew exactly what DPM I had before and after this change. So yeah, you might as well do it. If this isn't changed, make sure that you do 1% to all crew members. There's literally nothing else that could be arguably worth it, as far as I can tell. So an interesting feature, nonetheless, but you can increase DPM on tanks. For example, the the Object 430, I decreased the reload to under 5 seconds. It's 4.96 I got it to. The STB1 is like 6.12 DPM. The Centurion itself, DPM max is 6.67 or something like that. You'll have to see on the replay. It's really quick though. And every tank in the game gets these benefits. So, and it's not just DPM when you're increasing the crew skills. Don't forget, it's the gunner reliability, your driving, and also it's spotting range, repair time, camo skills. So it's all sorts of stuff. It's basically, you can get 4% if you have both emblems and both inscriptions on. 4% is the best you can do, unless you do the crazy stuff like I was talking about with the 2%, which is not worth it. And, that's basically like having a second pair of events, which is huge. So yeah, I actually think it's a positive change. I don't mind it. I think the whole thing I was talking about with the 1% loader, for example, is basically worthless compared to the 1% crew member. You might as well do the crew member. I think if that's fixed and this is made to be 2% active all the time or something like that, I think it'll be really interesting for the game. And it'll imply some really interesting meta. For example, let's say you have the STB1 and the DPM's great, so maybe you want to do the gunner and you get 2% on the gunner on both and you get 4%. That could be cool. It'll be interesting to see how it affects a lot of the tanks. Unfortunately, of course, this will also help artillery players. Although it is 4%, so it's helpful, but it's not like crazy helpful. Especially with the loading, though, you will find on slower reload tanks, it'll help a lot. The E100, I got it down, I think I shaved 0.3 off of its reload. So, yeah. That's what we have on this test server so far. We do have Rampage or something, but someone said it was, messed up. So, maybe I'll play around with it a bit later. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was helpful. So we'll see. This is the first iteration of the test. It was quite buggy, actually. A lot of people crashing. But we'll see how the test progresses, whether the Centurion stats will be changed and things like that. And also the Chieftain. So hopefully I'll get to test that soon for you guys. So yeah, thanks for watching. And hopefully I'll see you on a video where I get to play the Chieftain. Thanks, guys.